They checked one last time. If you want, not seeing it on the floor.
You guys ready? Ready as you're going to be?
Almost.
That's it? Okay, then let's
To get the right instrument.
Well, okay. I'll give you the intro and we'll turn you loose.
Okay.
Okay, everyone. I think we're going to get started. This is the Two-Way Street Coffee House, in case you're in the wrong spot. But it looks like you're in the right spot. Also, we want to mention that we are doing live shows. We also have a camera pointed just at the stage. So if you're not supposed to be here, don't worry. You won't wind up on camera. So my name is John, for those who don't know. For those who do know, my name's still John. We are a listening room, and I think everybody here has probably been here and realizes all of that. We are still following the CDC guidelines on the masks, unless you're drinking or eating. And we're an all volunteer staff. Once again, we got the usual cast of characters here. Tonight, Tim is doing the sound. Yay. And Joel is standing up there looking tall with money in his hand. Jennifer, you can tell which one's Jennifer. She's working the counter. And like I say, my name is John. So we've been in operation for 51 years. Not me personally, but this place in 1970 what got first started and has been going strong ever since. And if you start to figure, we are 51 years times 52 Fridays. That's quite a few people who've gone through the place here. But tonight, we have February Sky in the coffee house. And Phil and Susan have been here many times. Um, they always seem to be able to fill this coffee house with great sound. So, on that happy note, guys, check out their flyer on the table. That gives you more in depth if you don't know the sky. And if you do, you can read it anyway. So, with that, take it away.
All right. Thank you, John.
Thank you so much for coming out tonight. This is a much bigger crowd than we had the last time we played on the second day of a major war. It's like about 15 times bigger. I think that time we played to the coffee house owner. Oh, and then 2 other people came.
Yes.
All right.
Start you off with a set of tunes. First tune's from the Shetland Islands called The Full Rig Ship, and the second tune is a Scottish jig from the Hebrides, which is Hebrides spelled Hebrides, and it's called The Fisherman's Song for Attracting Seals.
Now, there's plenty of space out there. If anybody wants to get up and dance during any of these tunes, we have no objection.
If we did, we'd hurt ourselves.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to start with a song that we've sung for way too many memorial services, but it's not really about that. But it's
And the late great Dave Carter. And the legend goes that Dave is a legend. That he wrote it for his mother's passing in 1998. But the interesting thing is that he either predicted or created his own death and everything that has followed after. lovely Native American spiritual language. And we're not going to dwell a whole lot on the war tonight, but I think we kind of have to send it out to the people in Ukraine.
Come, lonely hunter, chieftain and king, I will fly like the falcon when I go. Bear me, my brother, under your wing, I will strike, fell like lightning when I go. I will bellow like the thunder drum, invoke the storm of war. A twisting pillar spun of dust and blood up from the prairie floor. I will sweep the foe before me like a gale out on the snow. And the wind will long recount the story, reverence and glory when I go. Spring spirit dancer, nimble and thin, I will leap like coyote when I go. Tireless entrancer, lend me your skin, I will run like the gray wolf when I go. I will climb the rise at daybreak, I will kiss the sky at noon, raise my yearning voice at midnight to my mother in the moon. I will make the lay of long defeat and draw the chorus slow. I'll send this message down the wire, hope that someone wise is listening when I go. And when the sun comes trumpets from his red house in the east, he will find a standing stone where long I chanted my release. He will send his morning messenger to strike the hammer blow, and I will crumble down uncountable in showers of crimson rubies when I go. Sigh, mournful sister, whisper and turn, I will rattle like dry leaves when I go. Stand in the mist where my fire used to burn, I will camp on the night breeze when I go. And should you glimpse my wandering form out on the borderline between death and resurrection and the council of the pines, do not worry for my comfort, do not sorrow for me so. All your diamond tears will rise up and adorn the sky beside me when I go. Thank you.
Must be some Dave Carter fans out there because I heard some people singing. And you can sing along on anything that you catch the drift of. Oh, guitar stand doesn't have top. I'm not used to that. Well, this is a song that Phil gave me the idea for a long while back, and it never got written until the pandemic hit. And I had like a verse and part of a chorus, but it seemed to be more urgent.
Somewhere. There's one of them here.
Yeah.
Don't know what happened to that.
Oh,
Oh,
winter dry throat, you know how that is. Anyway, we were sitting around one one day watching TV, which we probably do way too much of, and this commercial came on, and Phil said something to me, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I think that will make itself into a song. So anyway, you'll get to hear about a little picture of our life in our 300-person town in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We love it there, by the way, in case you're wondering. We live up in the frozen north in a tiny UP town. Most everybody's broke up there. New jobs are to be found. The dorm our next door has got a burn barrel for torching all their trash. They don't pay for garbage pickup, and that saves those folks some cash. One night when we were watching some commercial on TV, a dire warning came from some insurance company. They said a funeral could cost us $30,000 in bread. My dear sweetie turned and looked me in the eye, and then he said,
Throw me in that burn barrel when I die. Let my ashes blow in a beautiful snow against that northern sky. And the neighbors will be saying, man, he sure is one hot guy. So throw me in that burn barrel when I die.
said this was fine with me, but it had to go both ways. No caskets, no funeral home, no priest to come and pray. However, I would like a bit of fancy fanfare when I go. No, it will not cost much money, dear. Just wanted you to know.
Throw me in that burn barrel when I croak. You can toss some fireworks in there with a nice thick log of oak. And the folks will say she went out with a bang in a cloud of smoke. So throw me in that burn barrel when I croak.
Our Facebook friends can honor us. No money may be spent. It would help ensure the poor surviving spouse can pay the rent. And if the COVID time is past, a sing around would not be wrong. But if not, they all can get on Zoom and sing our favorite song. So
Throw us in that burn barrel when we're gone. They can watch our ashes mix with snow in a rosy UP dawn. And until we soar above the clouds, we'll keep on singing songs. So throw us in that burn barrel when we're gone. Throw me in that burn barrel. Throw me in that old burn barrel. Throw me in that burn barrel when I die. Thank you.
all right, well, for those of you who don't know, February Sky, the way we work is Phil picks up mostly the traditional songs and tunes, and I'm the one with the songwriter's disease, which is terminal and incurable, of course.
So we're going to take a trip to Scotland to several hundred years ago, and the protagonist wins an all-expenses paid trip to Australia, which he doesn't want to go on. And there was an Englishman, an Irishman, and a Scotsman in a pub in Dublin once having a pint of Guinness. And they don't have air conditioning over there, so the windows are open, and a fly lands in all three of their pints of Guinness at the same time. And
As can only happen in jokes.
the Englishman says, "Oh, barman, my drink is tainted. Please replace it." And
Irishman says, waste a good Guinness. Get out of there, you.
the Scotsman grabs that fly by both wings and says, "Spit it out. I paid for that."
I told that joke to some 7th graders once.
Don't you know anybody who's cheap?
Oh! Yeah, I told them one blonde joke, which I feel kind of guilty about. I don't do that anymore. But, well, they said, tell us some more, Ms. Irvin. And I said, I don't know any that are clean. And they said, oh, well, tell us some dirty ones. We won't tell anybody.
Like, right.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is called Jamie Rayburn. It's also got some longer titles like Jamie Rayburn's Lament for Leaving Scotland. Something slipped in it between.
Could be a cable malfunction. There we go.
Okay. Oh, my name is Jamie Rayburn. In Glasgow I was born. From my place of habitation I now must leave in scorn. From my place of habitation I now must go awa', far from the bonny hills and dales of Caledonia. It was early in the morning, just at the break of day, when I overheard the turnkey who unto us did say, arise, ye weary convicts, arise, ye one and all. This is the day you are to stray from Caledonia. So we all arose, put on our clothes, our hearts were full of grief, and all our friends stood round about, could grant us no relief. Our parents, friends, and sweethearts, their hearts were broken twa, to see us leave the hills and dales of Caledonia. Farewell, my aged mother, I'm vexed for what I've done, and I hope none will cast up to you the race that I have run. And I hope God will prove kind to you when I am far awa', far from the bonny hills and dales of Caledonia. Farewell, my aged father, you are the best of men, and likewise to my sweetheart, young Catherine is her name. No more we'll walk by Clyde's clear streams, nor by the Broomilla. Farewell, ye bonny hills and dales of Caledonia. Oh, my name is Jamie Rayburn, in Glasgow I was born. From my place of habitation I now must leave in scorn. From my place of habitation I now must go awa', far from the bonny hills and dales of Caledonia. Thank you.
All right, well, this song is my paean to the 60s. Set in Chicago, and for those of you who may not have been around, or at least in this area at that time, the Electric Theater was one of those big barn-like emporiums like the Fillmore East and West. Kids used to go to dance in the strobe lights and listen to really loud music and ruin their hearing. And the feed store was Chicago's first hippie restaurant. It was not a place to buy things for your animals to eat. The Seed was Chicago's famous underground newspaper, and people actually made a living selling it for a quarter apiece. And this was the song that got me blacklisted in Elgin, Illinois. So you might want to listen for the line that made that happen.
Yes.
Because I love this 12-string guitar, but it's problematic to capo it. You have to get it in just exactly the right spot, or it sounds good. I picked up your room one night at the feed store in June of 1968. But when I met you and you gave me your hand, the look in your eyes sealed his fate. The roommate and I lasted only one night. He was jealous 'cause you turned my head. So he took off that evening to hitchhike to Denver, and I moved in with you instead. You wore chocolate and glasses, your long hair was brown, and you had such a sweet, gentle smile. I worked as a waitress, you peddled the seed, and we shared all we had for a while. And we
Go to the Electric Theater and dance in the light of the strobes. To the Beatles, the Airplane, the Stones, and the Who, and the time to be headed for home. Then you would cradle me close in your arms, and we surely made love and not war. And we knew neither fear nor a thought for tomorrow. That's what young love is made for.
So we spent all our free time together that summer, and we listened to sweet rock and roll. We smoked lots of grass, and we chewed on peyote, and the music united our souls. We sang the Beatles with Lennon McCartney, and Harlow and Angel Voice too. When you played your guitar and you sang like Bob Dylan, it thrilled me right down to the bone. We believe just the same as all young folks before us, that we were changing the world with our life. And now, looking back more than 50 years later, I still do believe we were right. And we
Go to the Electric Theater and dance in the light of the strobes. to the Beatles, the airplane, the Stones, and the Who, till the time to be headed for home. Then you would cradle me close in your arms, and we'd surely made love and not war. And we knew neither fear nor a thought for tomorrow. That's what young love is made for.
In September, you left with some friends for LA, and you said it was just for a while. You promised you'd write, and I choked back the tears as I kissed you goodbye with a smile. But I knew in my heart you would never return, neither you nor one of your friends. You were killed in southwestern Texas, and I never did see you again. But you left such a treasure of memories behind, and I often remember your face as it was at 19 in that 68 summer. That time every day.
We'd go to the electric theaters and dance in the light of the strobes to the Beatles, the airplane, the Stones, and the Who, till the time to be heading for home. Then you would cradle me close in your arms. We'd surely made love and not war. And we knew neither fear nor a thought for tomorrow. That's what young love is made for.
That's what young love is made for. Burning ships on the water
Thank you. Time for a mental vacation. We're going to
Yeah, we do know that we ask our audiences to think an awful lot. So you need brain breaks.
put on our website once, regain your attention span with February Sky.
Yes, that's right.
Anyway, this is a Scottish tune again, an old one called Roslyn Castle.
I always think it should have, it probably wasn't, but it should have been in one of those 1960s spy movies. But probably wasn't.
Thank you.
All right, what are you doing here, dear? We have complications here because one of Phil's guitar had to go into the shop today, and we don't have it. So
Well, I thought that, Susan had actually suggested this song, so we'll sing it. It's about the First World War. It's called The Rose of York, and thought, well, I'm not quite sure what the proper response world around should be for this case, but anyway, this is a song based on whole areas of Britain when they sent people off to fight the First World War, where since they recruited everybody from the same town in one battalion, or whether if they got wiped out, they were all gone. Every last male member of the community in some cases. Anyway, we certainly don't want that to happen anywhere. It's called The Rose of York, written by a woman named Kate Thompson. Oh, my name it is Mark Bennett. I am a Yorkshire man. I earn my living by my pen, tell a sterling tale I can. And the one I tell you now, boys, was writ by foolish men. And the petals fell from the rose of York, never to bloom again. Well, come all you young married men, you boys of the bulldog breed. We're looking for the young and brave, that's what Britannia needs. And we'll fight the Hun in Flanders and the Germans on the Seine. And the petals fell from the rose of York, never to bloom again. Well, first we sailed to Egypt, where the heat was hard to bear. We were waiting for the call to France, for the Boche were fighting there. And we spoke of what we'd do, boys, both brother, son, and friend. And the petals fell from the rose of York, never to bloom again. Well, we had a sergeant major, bold by nature, bold by name. The German guns don't pick and choose, and bold died just the same. And other gallants followed, their kind of lives did spend. And the petals fell from the rose of York, never to bloom again. Oh, we did not want to lose you, but we thought you ought to go. Your king and country needed you, Lord Kitchener told us so. But the tale I tell you now, boys, was writ by foolish men. And the petals fell from the rose of York, never to bloom again. And the petals fell from the rose of York, never to bloom again. Thank you.
all right, well, here's another song that touches on the effects of war just peripherally. For many years, or for my whole life actually, I've been fascinated by stories of shapeshifters. Those are people who can turn into animals and back again. And some of you may be an age to understand this one, although not the only cause of my first dropping out of high school was that if I went to school, I couldn't get home in time to see Dark Shadows. But never thought about really writing songs about this, even though there's a bunch of them in the traditional vein. So I started listening to the late great Dave Carter. He wrote a whole bunch of this came about partially because of a character in the book and movie Cold Mountain. She's an elder woman living way back in the woods immediately post-Civil War, and she rescues a young soldier going home to his sweetie and nurses him back to health and sends him on his way. And I'm sitting there in the theater thinking, who is this person and why is she out there, and how did she come to be in this spot? So that person sort of came to me, and I kind of put that together with an episode of one of our favorite TV shows of all time, Northern Exposure, where there's a very handsome young man who turns into a bear who has a fling with the Maggie character in that show.
It turns out, ironically, the native tribe where we live up there of the Ojibwe clan is the Bear Clan.
And most of the people are bear clan. They really like this song.
And they're,
It's not said anywhere.
I was looking that up. Bear clans have healing properties.
Oops.
Or-
This show gets too slick for you, let us know. I was the daughter of a wild buffalo, neither did my mama, for he kept himself a son, he stole me from her. When the moon was new in April, he left for her a tree with fortune, belts and knives and guns. He cursed the stars above him when he found I was a girl. But still he raised me up to be the daughter of life. My daddy died of sickness on the day I turned 14. Soon I grew so lonesome that I thought I'd lose my mind. So
I went running through that shadowed forest, going who knows where. Daughter of the half-breed human, offspring of a bear.
I stole your dress from a farmhouse washing line, found myself a fine man, and he went and married me, lived in that same town. There I bore him 6 babies, till I was a widow woman, born in 63.
I heard that there were Yankees coming, burning up the towns. My children all were grown and gone, or off to fight the war. I fled to seek my refuge in the trackless mountain woods. Confederate money, fancy dresses, no good anymore. And I went running through that shifty forest, going who knows where. Daughter of the half-breed human, offspring of a bear.
I lived alone there for the turning of the year, lived in weather. Made my old bones start to ache deep in the autumn. I could sense the Yankees coming, but I had no will to move again. For my life they should take.
Then on a gray November eve came crashing through the trees a he-bear, huge and handsome, shaggy fur of deepest black. I had no fear to meet my fellow creature of the woods. I held my ground and watched him as he ambled toward my shack. And I stood waiting in that autumn forest, about to go nowhere. Shadow of the half-breed human, offspring of a bear.
Bear looked at me, and he rose on his hind legs, and a man appeared there. Long dark hair all glistening, he said,
Granddaughter, come away and roam with me now. We will sleep the winter time away and frolic in the spring. I looked down at my body, it was covered with thick fur. I followed my grandfather as we stalked into the night. And to this day the hunters talk about the two great bears who vanish into nothing when they fix them in their sights. And we go laughing through the cool bright forest, roaming everywhere. Immortal son and daughter of the spirit of the bear. Thank you. What do you get when you cross a snowman and a vampire?
frostbite. Yeah.
The jokes aren't going to get any better than that, but
Yeah.
truth in advertising. We used to apologize for our humor or lack thereof, but then we decided to embrace who we really are. I'm of Swedish ancestry myself, and you heard about the Swede that loved his wife so much he almost told her. Ole and Lena go to the bar, and Ole orders up a couple of beers. Says, "I love you."
Oli, is that you or the beer talking?
Oh, that was me talking to my beer.
Yeah, you probably know that one too.
And John warned us on the pain of death that we had to tell him when the last song in the set was, and this is it. We're about to sing it. It's one of my favorite songs from all times. When I was a world-weary young adult of 19, back in my first year in college, my older brother gave me a copy of Richard Thompson's first album called Henry the Human Fly. And this is the third song on side one, and it's like, gosh, that's right in my wheelhouse, alienation. Turns out Richard Thompson wrote it based on characters from novels by Thackeray, when he's reading old Victorian novels. And
He just came out with an autobiography of these men. It's wonderful.
And anyway, this is The Poor Ditching Boy. Like I said, one of my fave songs of all time. Was it never a winter so cold and so sad, a river too weary to flood? Storm and the wind cut through to my skin, but she cut through to my blood. I was looking for trouble to tangle my line, but trouble came looking for me. I knew I was standing on treacherous ground. I was sinking too fast to run free. With her scheming idle ways, she left me poor enough. Storm and the wind cut through to my skin, but she cut through to my blood. I would not be asking, I would not be seen. begging on a mountain or hill. Still I'm ready and blind with my hands tied behind, and I've neither a mind nor a will. With her scheming idle ways, she left me poor enough. Storm and the wind cut through to my skin, but she cut through to my blood. Well, it's bitter the need of the poor ditching boy, for he'll always believe what they say. They tell him it's hard to be honest and good. Does he mind if he doesn't get paid? With her scheming idle ways, she left me poor enough. Storm and the wind cut through to my skin, but she cut through to my blood. Thank you very much. Now a word from our sponsor.
I am. I guess I am. I'm the guy who pays them, so I guess I must be the sponsor.
And the shrine to capitalism.
So they will be back for a whole second set in 10 minutes or so, and you can feel free to redo your coffee. You should check out, they've got CDs on the counter, and you can take that home with them. Start that again. They don't want to take all those home with them. So if you want to, if you just want to like lighten their load, that would be great. So anyway, next Friday we have Rory Makem here in the coffee house. I listened to he's got quite an Irish brogue to him. And he's got a beautiful kind of a Irish tenor voice.
Is he related to the Makem clan?
Tommy? Yeah.
Very cool.
It's Tommy's son.
Oh, holy moly, yes.
Yeah, holy moly.
You should
Small
see
world.
him. Anything with the Bakems is worth coming to.
Okay. Tomorrow there's a country western jam right here in the big room down the hall. So if you know where the washrooms are at, you go down that way and take a right. You go to the left, you're in the bathroom. And that's from 2 to 4. And that's sponsored by the Plank Road Folklore Society. And they are kind of kissing cousins to the two-way street. But now here's the most important thing. What? I believe on Monday, Monday the 28th, Jennifer and Joel, also known as Ashley Simpson, will be doing a live stream at 8 o'clock on Monday night. And so you can, if you want to hear them perform, they are doing an anniversary show. All right, that sounds really good. So anyway,
Facebook fan page.
Okay. So with that, we'll take a short break. And for those of you on the camera, we're going to take a short break. So we'll be back in like 10 minutes or so. they can scurry back in anytime. Like I said, next Friday we've got Rory Makem, and he is the son of Tommy Makem, who is quite famous. Yes, Rory is Tommy Makem. Rory is his son. Yeah. So, and I've heard the guy sing, and boy, can he sing. But like I said, he's got a Irish brogue to him, and I think, as we're headed into March, we've all got to get our green on a little for St. Patrick's Day. So I think that'll be a great one. And like I say, don't forget the Western Jam tomorrow, 2 to 4 in the big room down the hall. As a kind of an early notice, on April Fool's Day, we're having our next open mic, which means anybody who has the urge to stand up here and do the thing they can get 2 or 3 songs, and they could read a poem. It's an open mic, so keep that in mind, and get yourselves tuned up. Dave, I give Dave a hard time. He and I co-wrote a song back a couple of years ago, so ever since then I've been trying to get him up on stage again, because we did our little thing, and I don't think he's going to do it. But so anyway, are you guys ready to go?
We are.
Yes.
Take it away, guys.
All right.
Okay, we're going to start it with another tune. This is, I believe, an American old-time tune, but it's called Cold Frosty Morn.
Well, we know it's got Celtic roots, and that's why we like it.
Thank you. In honor of the weather, we actually are kind of fond of fall and winter weather as opposed to hot, humid summer weather. So I always feel you're only entitled to complain about one season. So
Yeah,
Comes-
otherwise, it makes you a really fun person to be around. If you're
Yeah.
always
So I just say, we'll be complaining about the heat in no time. So anyway, here's an Irish song about the Celtic boomerang. The Celtic boomerang, you say, it's like a boomerang where you throw it and it sings about coming back home and it never does. Which is why you probably have the Celtic music fans all over the world, because if you were back home, you'd be busy earning a living and not worried about your old heritage.
And this is a song about a phenomenon, well, for a relatively new type of gold digger. But it's not a new idea, it's just a new name for it, newer name
Yeah.
for it.
Said the stockbroker to his mistress, "Honey, if I lost everything, would you still love me?"
Sure, I'd love you, honey. I'd miss you, but I'd love you.
This is called
Anyway,
Pretty
so this
Susan.
guy gets turned over by his girlfriend for somebody with more funds.
So he emigrates to America or Canada, and from the singing of Len Graham, a great singer from Northern Ireland. When first from sea I landed, I had a roving mind. I rambled undaunted, my true love to find. There I met with pretty Susan, with her cheeks like the rose, and her skin was like the lily fair, or the wildflower that grows. Yet her skin was like the lily fair, or the wildflower that grows. Oh, the long time I courted her, till I wasted my store. Then her love turned to hatred, because I was poor. She said, I love another, whose fortune I will share. So be gone from pretty Susan, the bride of Moyclair. Yes, be gone from pretty Susan, the bride of Moyclair. Broken-hearted next morning, as I roamed by the way, I met with pretty Susan and her young man so gay. And as I gazed on her, my heart full of care, oh, I sighed for pretty Susan, the bride of Moyclair. Yes, I sighed for pretty Susan, the bride of Moyclair. Once more to the ocean I resolved for to go. I am bound for the west, my heart full of woe. And it's there I'll meet pretty girls like jewels so rare. But there's none like pretty Susan, the bride of Moyclair. No, there's none like pretty Susan, the bride of Moyclair. So now it's farewell to my dear native shore. Round the green hills of Ireland I'll wander no more. And it's when I'm at a distance, all burdened with care, I will sigh for pretty Susan, the bride of Moyclair. Yes, I'll sigh for pretty Susan, the bride of Moyclair. first from sea I landed, I had a roving mind. I rambled undaunted,
My
true love to find. There I met with pretty Susan, with her cheeks like the rose, and her skin was like the lily fair, or the wildflower that grows. Yes, her skin was like the lily fair, or the wildflower that grows. Not sure where that frog in my throat came from, but I wish he'd go away. But okay.
cough drops down there.
I'm trying to open this water. It's, of course, not cooperating. Oh, there it goes.
All right. Well, this is a song that's sort of an argument between those two parts of yourself. Well, first of all, the New Age people all tell us that we need to listen to our inner voice, and that if we do that, everything will always go perfectly for us and we'll never make any mistakes and life will be just absolutely right. Well, we think that's absolutely very good advice.
My inner voice is usually saying, "Shut up, Phil."
We think that's the best advice of all, because there are those times when there's nothing that we can say that will help matters any. So it's sort of a dialogue between those two parts, that one that wants to say those god-awful tactless comments,
Even if they're true.
especially if they're true, and that other part that's smarter that says, don't do that. It has a part for you. The chorus only comes around twice, and it's long and convoluted like most of my choruses. But the last line of it is, especially when the message that it's shouting is, shut up! So you can join in. If you've heard the song before and you know the chorus, you can join in on the whole chorus or the last line, or just the shut up.
This is your chance to multitask, because if you've ever wanted to participate in a chorus song while telling the singer to shut up, this is the only sanctioned chance you'll ever get.
All right. You're lunching with an old friend. She's dating. She tells you she's in love. The guy is married, Dr. P. His darling is white and 7 children of her earth. How tough it is to not say you should break it out of her.
There is no situation so bad or so adverse that a few well-chosen words from you cannot make it worse. So bite your tongue and smile. We know that's hard to do. Speak and you'll regret it, our guarantee to you.
Your girlfriend's getting dressed one night to go out on the town. Her outfit's tight and skimpy, though the lady is quite round. She turns to you and queries, do I look bad in this dress? You really speak those feelings.
The answer, dear, is yes. Oops. There is no situation so bad or so adverse that a few well-chosen words from you cannot make it worse. So bite your tongue and smile. We know that's hard to do, but speak and you'll regret it, our guarantee to you. Listen to that inner voice. It sounds just like a gong. That voice will always tell you true, never steer you wrong. So when it echoes through your head, you'd better listen up. Especially when the message that it's shouting is, shut up!
Your your one power. Carefully, don't say, good riddance, oh, big lost there.
Never liked her anyway. There is no situation so bad or so adverse that a few well-chosen words from you cannot make it worse. So bite your tongue and smile. We know that's hard to do, but speak and you'll regret it, our guarantee to you. Listen to that inner voice, it sounds just like a gong. That voice will always tell you true and never steer you wrong. So when it echoes through your head, you better listen up. Especially when the message that it's shouting is, shut up! Especially when the message that it's shouting is, shut up! Thank you. I think I'll do okay. Anyway, about time to do not a long ballad. It's not all that long, but it's one about. It's called "The Cruel Brother." It's from Scotland, and
it has the same plot as almost any police procedural show. Bill is very fond of those. Bad guy does a nasty thing, gets caught, justice is done. That's it. It has a chorus. Now, there are some of these ballads that have these refrains,
repeat lines
that don't have much to do or nothing at all really with the plot, and we don't know why those are there, but we suspect one of two things or maybe both. One, it was for the singer to figure out, to remember what the next line was, or to get the audience to sing. And
Yes. Well, this is heard this sung by the Scottish singer Dick Gaughan way back.
You may wonder toward the end why they're asking this poor young woman what to do with all of her stuff as she's bleeding out, and the reason is it was a pre-literate society, and they had to have witnesses.
And you could tell even from the tone of the writing that the people writing the song did not approve of any of the actions. So it's like, I defy anyone to say that the behavior exhibited at the wedding was okay. There were three sisters lived in the hall, I, the rose, and the lily gay. And it's by coming night, and he's courted them all, and the roses are the redder eye. The first one, she was dressed in red, I, the rose, and the lily gay. Would you come with me and be my bride? And the roses are the redder eye. The second one, she was dressed in green, I, the rose, and the lily gay. Would you come with me and be my queen? And the roses are the redder eye. The third one, she was dressed in white, I, the rose, and the lily gay. Would you come and be my own delight? And the roses are the redder eye. First you must ask my father the king, I, the rose, and the lily gay. And then you must ask my mother the queen, and the roses are the redder eye. And you must ask my sister Anne, I, the rose, and the lily gay. But mind ye of my brother John, and the roses are the redder eye. So he has asked her father the king, I, the rose, and the lily gay. And minutes he has asked her mother the queen, and the roses are the redder eye. And he has asked her sister Anne, I, the rose and the lily gay, but he's forgot her brother John, and the roses are the redder eye. Her father led her through the hall, I, the rose and the lily gay. Her mother, she danced before them all, and the roses are the redder eye. Her sister Anne led her through the close, I, the rose and the lily gay. Her brother John helped her on her horse, and the roses are the redder eye. He's taken out a wee penknife, I, the rose and the lily gay. And there's he's twined her of her life, and the roses are the redder eye. As we come by St. Deverin's well, I, the rose and the lily gay. She durst not like to drink her fill, and the roses are the redder eye. As we come by St. Deverin's close, I, the rose and the lily gay. The bonny bride, she fell off her horse, and the roses are the redder eye. What will you leave to your father the king? I, the rose and the lily gay. The bonny steed that I rode on, and the roses are the redder eye. What will you leave to your mother the queen? I, the rose and the lily gay. The bloody robes that I lie on, and the roses are the redder eye. What will you leave to your sister Anne? I, the rose and the lily gay. My good Lord, to be her man, and the roses are the redder eye. What will you leave to your brother John? I, the rose and the lily gay. The rope and the halter to hang him on, and the roses are the redder eye.
Neatly summed up. All right.
CSI Tyneside.
Yes. Well, this is a traditional song, and even though I'm the one with the songwriting disease, occasionally I learn a traditional song because some of them are just too good not to. And I like this one because there's a lot of people who think that the whole idea of people feeling that they were born into the wrong gender of body is a 21st century phenomenon. It isn't. There are plenty of songs about, especially young women, who decided that they didn't want the life that a woman was assigned to 200 or so years ago, or they left to follow a lover to sea or to war or wherever he was going and didn't want to be the girl left behind. Either way, they had to work as hard as men and do everything that the men did, or they would be easily discovered. Now, this young woman in this song, that doesn't actually happen to her, but she does get discovered, but in a different way. And she has to go back. And we'd suspect once she got there, she didn't stay, from the era of the Napoleonic Wars, roughly 200 or so years ago.
And this instrument's called the cittern, spelled Cittern. It has nothing to do with birds or cesspools. It's also called a mandolin on steroids.
Of a female drummer. Oh, I was brought up in Yorkshire, and when I was 16, I ran away to London, and a soldier I became. With me fine captain there, that likewise me rattling drum, they learned me to play upon the
And now this is an Irish song that was translated from Gaelic into English, which is why some of the phraseology will be a little strange.
Still perfectly understandable, though. Okay.
Speaking of family singing dynasties like the Macombs, since Rory Macomb will be here soon, this is a song I learned from the singing of Ray Fisher, who is Archie Fisher's sister, and she's now departed this world. But in Scotland, there are some people who refer to Archie as Ray Fisher's brother. So, I mean, he is well revered as a singer of traditional ballads, and so it's called "The Red-Haired Man's Wife," and it's not about unrequited love as much as it is about just sometimes things don't work out.
Well, of course, this was back in the bad old days when it was almost impossible to get a divorce, even for really good reasons, let alone the comparatively trivial one that people are just not liking each other all that much. And the last verse, the guy is really, really, really bitter. Some people don't do that last verse.
But we're February sky where it's cloudy all the time.
So we do it.
Why sing it if you don't do the last verse? It's sort of
Point of the song. And Phil had some raga-esque raga-esque guitar parts.
We're nothing if not technically ethnically pure, so I modeled the guitar break after verse 3 and at the end of the song after the electric guitar that Mick Ronson played on David Bowie's song Ground Control to Major Tom, and do some dulcimer on steroid raga things, sort of learned from the playing of the late Michael Chapman, who just passed away at the ripe old age of 80 a few months back. One of my guitar heroes in alternate tunings. Anyway.
You can talk to Phil about that after the show. If we did that, we might be until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Yes. Anyway, without further ado, The Red-Haired Man's Wife. O ye muses divine, combine, and lend me your aid. Depend these few lines, for I find that my heart's been betrayed by a woman most pure, who is dearer to me than my life. But from me she's flown and is known as the red-haired man's wife. Oh, a letter I'll send with a friend down by the seashore, to let her understand I'm the man that does her adore. And if she would but leave that fool, I would forfeit my life. She would live like a lady and ne'er be the red-haired man's wife. Oh, I offered a favor and sealed it with my own hand. She thus answered and said, would you take me to break the command? Pray take it easy, since nature can cause so much strife. I was given away and must stay as the red-haired man's wife. life never end, nor my yearning for passion abate. Till me and my love lie as one 'neath the pleasant tree shade, with no one to be near me save the blackbird and the green leaves alone, and the red-headed man in his grave with his head 'neath a stone. Thank you.
It's a weekend Renaissance man.
Okay.
All right. Well, one of the things that we do to make money when we're on the road, and also because we really enjoy it a lot, is present music-based services for Unitarian Universalist churches. And we came up with one that was inspired by a song by the wonderful Zoe Mulford. I'm going to read that today. And in fact, we titled the service about clothing and how it makes us feel and how it makes the people around us feel. And of course, we knew that we were going to get people asking us, well, where the heck would I wear all these fancy, beautiful clothes? Well, if you're the least bit into history, you can go reenact. You can find any period that's interesting to you, and there's somebody that's doing it out there. Everything from Roman to World War II and even Vietnam. There's not much in the way of fancy clothing for that, I don't think. But anyway, somehow or other, I needed to write a song for this service. And we do every period, just about every earlier period anyway, except for Renaissance. So why this guy came to me, I don't know. But anyway, he's a guy that likes to dress up and be a dandy, which is loads of fun, I think. And so this is called Weekend Renaissance Man. Whoa.
Ole and Lena, they're driving to town. And Lena, she's just railing and railing and railing at poor Ole while he's driving the pickup truck. And, she's...
Ole, you never help me around the house. And, you never do any of the dishes or clean up after the cats or walk the dog for me or buy me flowers anymore. On and on and on.
They hit a bump in the road, and the door of the passenger side of the truck blows open, and Lena, she goes sailing out to the car, and she's lying in the ditch, and she gets up, and she's shaking her fist at that cloud of dust as Ole's driving away. And the sheriff, he comes by, and he says, Lena, what the heck are you doing out here in the ditch, shaking your fist at the road?
Oh, Sheriff, there ain't Ole. We were driving the town in the pickup truck, and we hit a bump in the road, and the door went flying open, and I went flying out into the ditch, and he just kept on going. He didn't even look back.
Well, she gets in the back of the squad car, and the sheriff saying, well, Lena, there's Ole's truck in the hardware store. I'll go in and see what he's got to say for himself. You stay here and calm down. And the sheriff goes in, and there's Ole at the hardware store looking at all the little drawers of screws in the aisle. And the sheriff says, Ole, you were driving down the road with your pickup truck, and you hit a bump in the road, and Lena, she went sailing out the door, and you didn't even slow down. What the heck you got to say for yourself?
Oh, Sheriff, what a relief. I thought for sure I was going deaf. All right.
Yeah.
Now
What's
I'm
the
in
yeah?
tune again.
What's the difference between in-laws and outlaws?
Outlaws are usually wanted. I was brought up in a time when all was in gray. And as a boy, I knew the colors of the day. In the 1960s, came when colors rolled. I knew my every after to best its in the 1970s, I dressed in blue so bright that I went up the city streets walking on a light. But then I got a job 'cause I was sick of eating beans. I traded in my hippie club for shirts and well, working in construction, I could do my hair and me. But building made the guys think I was weird. But then I get paid and didn't think that's fair. So I was dazzled by the million
So now I wield a sword sometimes or raise the wizard's wand, and flowing shirts of linen like the feathers of a swan. With jerkins all in jeweled colors, nothing here is bland. In robes of purple velvet, I'm your weekend Renaissance man.
I worked so hard to learn the bravest suits and bouts. Though I was scared of horses, still I had one to joust. I knew that I could sing, so I stepped in the lead. Those bitches in their open boxes all were mighty I did a pretty cowboy in dresses scarlet red. She told me I was handsome, but the words went to my head. I remember loving royalty and royalty and gold. But it was 50 years ago, and I'm getting old. Baby, I've been to the air. Working the weekends, come driving off to the fairs. He was in the boots I could still. The pressure and the exercise, the hospital.
So still I wield a sword sometimes or raise the wizard's wand, in flowing shirts of linen like the feathers of a swan. And jerkins all in jeweled colors, nothing here is planned. In robes of purple velvet, I'm your weekend Renaissance man. Oh, we're going to do another nonsense song, like Oh Susanna, you know, where it rained all night the day I left the weather, it was dry. Well, this song has got all sorts of lines like that. It's from the singing of John Roberts and the late Tony Barron, who passed away a couple of weeks ago. I learned the appropriateness of, or learned the concept of the appropriateness of venue back when I was about 17 or 18 years old from John Roberts and Tony Barron. Not directly, but I had bought their first album, Spencer the Rover is Alive and Well and Living in Ithaca. And there was a song on it called Shine Your Buttons with Brasso, which is
Slightly scurrilous.
slightly, yes, not really. You never say the bad word, but it sure rhymes with it. Anyway, and I was asked to sing for a bunch of 4-H kids by somebody from the church my parents went to. And one of my high school buddies who was in 4-H raising sheep said, "Hey, Phil, why don't you sing that song?" So I did. And some of the parents were not amused. And anyway, word got back to my parents, and it was an interesting situation. But anyway, this is from that album, but it's not that song. But it's called Martin Said to His Man. And I'm not sure if it's a sea shanty or a drinking shanty. But
Follow me if you want to say.
Martin said to his man, "Fie, man, fie." Martin said to his man, "Who's the fool now?" Martin said to his man, "Fill thou the cup and I the can. Thou hast well drunken, man. Who's the fool now?" I saw the man in the moon, fie, man, fie. I saw the man in the moon, who's the fool now? I saw the man in the Peter shoon, thou hast well drunken, man, who's the fool now? I saw a hare chase a hound, fie, man, fie. I saw a hare chase a hound, who's the fool now? I saw the hare chase the hound 20 miles above the ground. Thou hast well drunken, man, who's the fool now? I saw a flea heave a tree, fie, man, fie. I saw a flea heave a tree, who's the fool now? I saw a flea heave a tree 15 miles out to sea. Thou hast well drunken, man, who's the fool now? I saw a mouse chase a cat, fie, man, fie. I saw a mouse chase a cat, who's the fool now? I saw a mouse chase a cat, saw a cheese eat the rat. Thou hast well drunken, man, who's the fool now? I saw a maid milk a bull, fie, man, fie. I saw a maid milk a bull, who's the fool now? I saw a maid milk a bull, every stroke a bucket full. Thou hast well drunken, man, who's the fool now? Oh, Martin said to his man, fie, man, fie. Oh, Martin said to his man, who's the fool now? Martin said to his man, fill thou the cup and I the can. Thou hast well drunken, man, who's the fool now? Thank you. Some say that was a political allegory, and he might not be wrong.
But it might be a crocodile.
Might. Anyway, we're going to finish up with one more song, and this is John's cue. But I'd like to thank everybody for coming out to spend their Friday night with us at the Two-Way Street Coffee House. I'd like to thank the staff for agreeing to book us. And we've had we always have a great time at the Two-Way Street, and this is no exception.
It is such a privilege to play.
And
it is never worn off. This coffee house. This was the first real gig I ever played. Dave Humphreys booked me here. Yeah.
Way back.
Singing I did the show with my then partner Jane Moyer. She was a wonderful singer, wonderful person too. Her life got busy with other things. It often happens. Well, one of the topics that we came up with for one of our Unitarian services was John Shelby Spong, late retired Bishop of Newark, New Jersey, Episcopal Bishop. And he wrote some very, very controversial books for many people in the Christian realm. And one of the first one that I read was Why Christianity Must Change or Die. I found that at the library at the Joliet UU Church and came right off the shelf into my hands. And the reason why we did a service on him is because his ideas, in many cases, are so compelling and so unusual that even Unitarians are sometimes weirded out by them. I'm not saying something. So this was the song that came out for that service. We had the privilege to see Bishop Spong when he was about 85 years old speak at the Episcopal Church in Marquette, Michigan. And it was an interesting talk, but the most interesting part was the question and answer session at the end, and people had some hard questions for him. And one woman asked him, how did you become close to God? or something to that effect. And I'm not sure what I expected him to say, but it wasn't what he said. He ended up spending about 20 minutes talking about how he in his personal life, and thereby, of course, in the life of the Episcopal Church, overcame racism, misogyny, and homophobia. And he always, one of the things that he would say over and over again is that to live a good life, you must live fully, love wastefully, and be everything you can be. So that wove its way into this song. Down in Mississippi, back in 1964, a woman of 18 was courted by a college man. From the lights that she was white, that he had seen as dark as night. That was a member of the Ku Klux Klan. Parted ways with tears and bitterness and confusion. 45 long years passed before they met again. Inauguration in D.C. The start of ours, oh yes it's me.
Live fully, love wastefully, be everything you're capable of being. Despite the hate, despite the fear, companions on our journey here. But in the end, the love we leave behind will heal it all.
Was born in 1950, started out in taught her how to cook and how to sew and be a mom. Science was her favorite. The school said no, leave her in. She went in, she did. I said, kids grew up, they all moved out, and Tommy passed away. So she went to Stanford, and she earned her PhD. Full professor she became, with physics papers in her name. Time she says, I
Live fully, love wastefully, be everything you're capable of being. Despite the hate, despite the fear, companions on our journey here. But in the end, the love we leave behind will heal it all.
to women very funny, held quite hopeless and wrong. In 1943, they had no choice but to pretend. Made a home in modern day, they
Live fully, love wastefully, be everything you're capable of being. Despite the hate, despite the fear, companions on our journey here. But in the end, the love we leave behind will heal it all. Will heal it all. Thank you.
We've come to that point in the program, but as we all know here, nobody gets out of the coffee house without an encore. And I gave Phil fair warning, so
Yes, he did.
don't get that startled look. So, do you guys have one more song? And while you're getting ready, just remember next week is Rory Makem here on Friday night. We are pretty much booked through the end of 22 at this stage of the game. We've got a number of performers coming in, and we are back in the coffee house.
Yes.
But we are also on a camera over here. And like I said earlier, it only sees the stage. So if you're not supposed to be here, not to worry. So are you guys ready?
Yes.
We
And
are.
thank you for tuning in Ethernet land.
Yes.
All righty, take it away, guys.
All right. Well, here's another song by the late great Dave Carter. The story behind this one, sort of the way Dave used to tell it, is that love is kind of like a beautiful flower. You plant it anywhere in any kind of fertile soil, or sometimes even just cast it carelessly aside, any place where it can take root and grow, and it's just about bound to grow into something beautiful and loving and wonderful. But the problem with love, my children, is that it doesn't stay that way. The problem with love is that it just keeps growing and growing until it gets all
Gnarly and weird.
And that's what this song is about. It's called Love is a Tanglewood Tree.
So light up those lava lamps. Love is a tanglewood tree in a bower of green in a forest at dawn. Fair while a mockingbird sings, but she soon lifts her wings and the music is gone. Young lovers in the tall grass with their hearts open wide when the red summer poppies bloom. But love is a trackless domain and the rumor of rain in the late afternoon. Love is an old root that creaks in the meadows of sleep when the long shadows cast. Thin as a vagrant young vine, it encircles and twines, and it holds the heart fast. Catches dreamers in the wildwood with the stars in their eyes and the moon in their tousled hair. But love is a light in the sky and an unspoken lie and a half-whispered prayer. I'm walking down a bone-dry river where the cool mirage runs through. I'm banking on the fables of the far, far better things we do. I'm looking for the day of reckoning, counting down the hours. I yearn away, I burn away, I turn away the fairest flower of love. 'Cause darling, love is a garden of thorns, and a crow in the corn with the brake growing wild. Cold when the summer is spent, and the jade hearts lament for the faith of a child. My body has a number and my face has a name, and each day seems the same to me. But love is a voice on the wind, and the wages of sin in a tanglewood tree. Thank you all so much.
All right. Thank you. Safe home. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe.
Safe travels.
Thank you.